My name is Liana Tang. I work at the Ministry for Communications and Information in Singapore, and I lead the team that does digital strategy and futures. I think the idea of Society 5.0 can be both exciting and pretty scary for people, and there's so much uncertainty going into this future. I think what's really good about the ASEF program is that it brings together people from different walks of life across Asia and Europe to navigate some of this uncertainty together. And I think core to navigating this uncertainty is understanding what are fundamental values that we might want to preserve as we move forward as a society together globally, but appreciating that there might be subtle differences across contexts, especially cultural contexts. And so I think it's very important that our young leaders appreciate that, and where they learn different practices from each other, they have to then contextualize that in a local level from where they live, but also then understand a common vocabulary of values when they work together on a global community scale. So I think programs like ASEF really help with furthering that understanding. Some of the threats and uncertainties that face us in the future really do require some long-term thinking. And I think the challenge that institutions have, whether you're in the private or public sector, is navigating some of the long-term uncertainties that require quite a bit of planning that could come at the cost of some short-term gains in terms of resource management and more popular decisions that you have to make. And so I think there are a few things that we need to think about when we do long-term planning. Well, I think firstly, it is about having the courage to resist quite a bit of the short-termism that people favor, and that can be, manifest in the forms of populism, or just a very human need to want a quick return on some kind of investment. And I think there's also a need to know that even in the long term, and you have a desired vision that you're working towards, there must be an acknowledgement that you don't also have all the answers when you get to the long term or on the way to the long term. And so it's quite important to maintain this mindset of being open to change, being resilient to change, being agile and experimenting different ways to get to this long-term plan, and being okay when there is failure. There was a question from the participants about balancing the need for individualism with community. And I think the beautiful thing about technology is that it can give us both. And I think a lot of energy is focused on how this democratization of digital has allowed people to just express themselves on individual levels, but not enough talked about collecting that energy into community. And the beautiful thing about digital is it gives you that opportunity too. But for some reason, we're not putting in enough effort in that space. And I wonder if participants in this program and at platforms like ASEF, that could be one way that we could start this conversation, bringing that power of the community through digital. I hope that participants appreciate the immense uncertainty and complexity that the world is, but also understand that there is power that young people of the world have today to guide the rest of us into this future, and they should remember that and harness it.